She once captivated all of Hollywood with just a smile. But what transformed a beauty icon like Sharon Tate into the center of America's most shocking crime in 1969? At just 26 years old, she became a victim of the notorious Manson murders. Yet behind the name Sharon Tate lay a journey filled with ambitions, love, and dreams that never had the chance to fully bloom. She was not only the wife of director Roman Polanski, not just a talented rising actress, but also a woman known for her kindness and warmth. Her lavish wedding was once compared to a Hollywood fairy tale, but even in this fairy tale, dark secrets were hidden. So what were these secrets? Stay with us as we uncover them in this video. And in the meantime, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new, never-before-told stories about Hollywood stars. Leave a like and hit the bell. Sharon Marie Tate was born on January 24, 1943, in Dallas, Texas. The daughter of Colonel Paul James Tate and Doris Gwendolyn Tate grew up in a military family that moved frequently. By the age of 16, Sharon had already lived in 6 different cities and attended several high schools. Her family remembered her as a shy, quiet girl who struggled to form lasting friendships. But on stage, Sharon transformed, radiant, confident, and captivating. The constant moves took the family from Texas to California, Washington State, and finally to Europe. This nomadic childhood deeply shaped Sharon. Her younger sisters Deborah and Patricia recalled how Sharon, despite all the challenges, was always a loving role model for them. From a young age, Sharon displayed her natural beauty. At just 6 months old, she won the Miss Tiny Tot of Dallas competition. In 1959, she won 5 beauty contests in a row. Her mother, Doris, supported these ambitions and often drove Sharon to competitions, while her father was initially more skeptical. In 1960, the family moved to Verona, Italy, where her father was stationed in intelligence. Sharon became a local celebrity there when her picture graced the cover of the military magazine Stars and Stripes. For the first time, Sharon began to form real friendships. At her American high school in Vicenza, Sharon flourished. She was on the basketball team, a cheerleader in the student council, and played Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. Her charisma earned her the title of prom queen. Those who knew Sharon described her as warm-hearted, sincere, and kind. Her English teacher remembered that Sharon had an extraordinary sensitivity to poetry. In 1961, Sharon graduated from high school. In Italy, she developed a passion for acting. When she heard that Hemingway's Adventures of a Young Man was being filmed, Sharon and her friends tried to land extra roles. They succeeded. On set, Richard Bammer spotted Sharon and made her his public girlfriend. He whispered in her ear that she should seriously pursue Hollywood. But Sharon never truly believed she was beautiful. She confessed, "My appeal is not obvious, at least not to me." This insecurity would accompany her throughout her life. After Hemingway's Adventures, she drifted for a year between extra roles and failed auditions. When her mother Doris fell into despair, Sharon returned to care for her. In 1962, the family moved to Los Angeles. Sharon secured appearances in the Beverly Hillbillies and Mr. Ed. But her manager Martin Ransohoff practically controlled every aspect of her career. He blocked her from high-profile projects and instead sent her to acting coach Lee Strasberg. By 1965, Ransohoff gave her a role in Eye of the Devil. Sharon traveled to London to study with Wicca leaders. To his surprise, she delivered an impressive performance. As Tate's acting talent began to gain recognition, love also entered her life and ignited her heart. In 1963, she met Philippe Forquet, a handsome, charming French actor who would star in the TV series The Young Rebels. Their romance blossomed quickly, and within months of dating, they were engaged. Philippe was a passionate, temperamental man, and their relationship was marked by intense highs and lows. Yet despite the passion, the relationship was anything but peaceful. Constant arguments and the pressure of career and ambition strained their bond. Friends later reported that Forquet had a fiery temper and often left Sharon in tears. In 1964, they finally broke up, which taught Tate a hard lesson about love and sacrifice. This painful experience made Sharon more cautious in matters of the heart. Shortly thereafter, fate led Tate to Jay Sebring, a former sailor who had become a famous hairstylist in Hollywood. Sebring had sparked a revolution in men's hair care and counted stars like Frank Sinatra, Steve McQueen, and Warren Beatty among his clients. He adored Tate, but her feelings for him were not as strong as his devotion to her. When Sebring proposed, Tate declined. She remembered the painful experiences with 4K and decided that her career had to take precedence. This firm decision showed how much Tate had matured after the wounds of her first romance. Despite the rejection, they remained close friends, and Sebring accepted his role as her confidant and protector. This friendship would last until her tragic end. By late 1966, Tate met Roman Polanski, a young but notoriously perfectionistic, sometimes even strict director. Polanski had already made a name for himself with films like Knife in the Water and Repulsion. Their connection was not love at first sight. Polanski initially thought Tate was too naive and unsuitable for the artistic standards he demanded. He even considered casting actress Jill St. John in the lead role of the fearless vampire killers, also known as Dance of the Vampires. But after meeting Tate, he changed his mind on the condition that she wore a red wig throughout the film, as he found blonde vampires inappropriate. Tate agreed, eager to work with the esteemed director. On set, Polanski tested Tate relentlessly. In one scene, he made her do up to 70 takes before he was satisfied. Yet through this grueling process, Tate revealed her resilience and natural charm. She not only proved her talent, but also won the heart of the demanding director. Polanski recognized, despite his strictness, that she was more than just a pretty face. She was a true artist with a deep understanding of her roles. And during the filming in the Alps, the two transformed from distant colleagues into passionate lovers. Colleagues on set noticed how Sharon's eyes lit up when Polanski entered the room and how he, the normally critical director, softened around her. Sharon Tate once hoped that Don't Make Waves would open new doors for her, but the film ultimately left her bitterly disappointed. In the film, her character appeared almost exclusively in a bikini, a costume choice that led Tate to reluctantly refer to herself as the little sex symbol. After the box office failure, she openly told the press it was a terrible movie. This honest yet brave statement revealed a young woman who was already aware of the harsh reality she faced on the path she was treading in Hollywood. Unlike many actors who dreamed of landing Shakespearean roles, Tate had a very clear understanding of her own limitations. She once admitted, "I don't kid myself. I can't imagine doing Shakespeare." Instead, she set her sights on becoming a charming comedian, following in the footsteps of the legendary Carole Lombard. With this vision, Tate actively sought opportunities in comedy, although she never quite managed to escape the sex symbol label imposed by the media. At the same time, she harbored a deep admiration for classic actresses like Faye Dunaway and especially Catherine Deneuve. Tate once expressed her dream of becoming the American Catherine Deneuve, drawn to the way Deneuve chose roles that were elegant, sensual, and intellectually complex. Unfortunately, fate never allowed Tate to fully pursue this ambition. Roman Polanski, her husband and director, wanted to cast her in the lead role of Rosemary's Baby, but hesitated out of fear of nepotism accusations. No one else suggested her name, and the role went to Mia Farrow. However, Tate continued to contribute behind the scenes, providing creative input on several key moments, including the infamous demonic conception scene of the film. She often visited the set and discussed the nuances of staging with Polanski. Tate's career was also marked by bitter setbacks. On the set of Don't Make Waves, she nearly lost her life during a stunt when her parachute opened at the wrong time, trapping her under the fabric in the pool. She managed to free herself before drowning, but the incident left a haunting reminder of the dangers of the film business. She also lost a role in The Sandpiper, not due to her talent, but because of Elizabeth Taylor's notorious jealousy. Taylor reportedly refused to have a young, beautiful newcomer nearby, even for a small role. The reviews of her films remained uneven. Her performance in Eye of the Devil received mixed reviews. Some praised her charm, while others felt she lacked depth. The Wrecking Crew with Dean Martin was a commercial flop, and Valley of the Dolls faced harsher criticism. Ironically, it was this very film that earned Tate a Golden Globe nomination for Most Promising Newcomer. She did not win, but the nomination was an important milestone, suggesting that Tate's career might have been ready to take off. On January 20th, 1968, just days before her 25th birthday, Sharon Tate married director Roman Polanski in an intimate ceremony in London. Their wedding was celebrated as a Hollywood fairy tale. Sharon wore a short white mini dress and baby doll shoes, and the couple radiated happiness. Yet, behind the glittering facade, the marriage was far more complicated. Polanski constantly urged Sharon to pursue her film career, but many friends later noted that his encouragement often turned into control. Tate once contemplated leaving her longtime manager, Martin Ransohoff, but hesitation and pressure from her husband left her torn. Polanski wanted a free-spirited woman, not a traditional housewife. His cold words often pushed Sharon into a state of confusion, caught between her desire to start a family and her fear of losing her career. Nevertheless, Sharon embraced the youthful, liberating spirit of the 1960s. Her home became a gathering place for artists and close friends, including Mia Farrow, Peter Fonda, and Jim Morrison of The Doors. Sharon loved this openness and welcomed both old friends and strangers. She truly lived in the spirit of a generation hungry for freedom and change. Decades later, director Quentin Tarantino reimagined part of her life in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with Margot Robbie playing Tate. The film offered a dreamlike version of her story, where Sharon remained smiling, happy, and free to pursue her dreams, a vision that reality had so cruelly stolen. In 1969, while pregnant, Sharon Tate and Polanski moved into the house at 150 Cielo Drive in Benedict Canyon. The property had once belonged to music producer Terry Melcher and actress Candice Bergen. Sharon called it her love house, filled with hopes for the future. She lovingly decorated it and prepared a nursery for the baby she was expecting. But there, she awaited a cruel twist of fate. Charles Manson, who bore a grudge against Melcher for refusing to sign him, chose that very house to exact his revenge, regardless of the fact that Melcher no longer lived there. For him, the house symbolized rejection, wealth, and everything he hated. Sharon Tate became the innocent victim of a madman's plan. On the night of August 8th to 9th, 1969, tragedy struck. Sharon, 8 months pregnant, was at home with her friends Abigail Folger, the heiress of the Folger coffee empire, Wojciech Frykowski, Abigail's boyfriend, and a Polish actor, Stephen Parent, a young man who had just left the estate, and Jay Sebring, her former lover who had remained a loyal friend. Members of the Manson family, Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian, broke in and brutally murdered them all. Sharon's desperate pleas for the life of her unborn child were ignored. Susan Atkins later confessed that Sharon, in her final moments, only begged for her baby. The brutal crime shook America to its core, overshadowing the glamour of Hollywood and spreading fear everywhere. Polanski, who was in London at the time preparing a film, was plunged into indescribable grief. He flew back immediately and had to face the horrific reality. The case quickly became a worldwide media sensation. The trial against Charles Manson and his followers drew global attention. At that time, the death penalty was still in effect in California, and the sentences imposed reflected the sheer brutality of the crimes. In 1971, the judge sentenced all defendants to death. But just a year later, in 1972, California abolished the death penalty, and the sentences were commuted to life imprisonment. Susan Atkins died in prison of cancer in 2009, while Manson himself died behind bars on November 19, 2017. The remaining convicts continued to serve life sentences and repeatedly applied for early release over the years. Each time, Sharon's sister Deborah Tate was present, as their father, Colonel Paul Tate, had taken on this task until his death in 2005. They missed no hearing and spoke out firmly against any release. Deborah once said with cold but heartbreaking conviction, these people should never, ever, ever be released into society. For the Tate family, the pain lay not only in the loss of their daughter and sister, but also in the unbearable reality that Paul Tate, with his background in military intelligence, went to the crime scene himself to try to find answers. He could not bear the thought of strangers examining the last moments of his daughter. The house at 150 Cielo Drive where the massacre took place, later became a chilling symbol. In 1994, it was completely demolished and the address changed to 166 Cielo Drive to erase its traces. But memories cannot be erased. People say the new mansion built on this land was extremely difficult to sell, as if the blood curse still hovered over it. In fact, the estate stood empty for years before finally finding a buyer. Few know that Sharon and her family had gathered just weeks before her murder to watch Neil Armstrong walk on the moon. On that joyful evening in July 1969, her mother Doris gifted her a wooden rocking chair for the baby she was expecting. The same chair Doris once used to raise Sharon. Death robbed Sharon of the chance to be a mother. Yet the bond of motherhood endured. On her gravestone, beneath the name Sharon Tate, is the name of her unborn child, Paul Richard Polanski. Sharon's father, with over 20 years of experience in military intelligence, even conducted his own investigation, going so far as to disguise himself as a hippie to follow leads. But every effort led to a dead end. For him, justice lay not only in the court's verdict, but also in uncovering the truth, something he longed for to clear his daughter's name. Meanwhile, Sharon's rising film career was overshadowed by tragedies. The film Valley of the Dolls, now considered a cult classic, was once a nightmare for her. She confessed to Polanski that she disliked both the original novel by Jacqueline Suzanne and the screenplay. On set, the relationships among the actresses were initially close, but director Mark Robson turned the experience into something bitter. He frequently berated and even humiliated Sharon in front of everyone. Her co-star Patty Duke later confessed that Robson treated Sharon as if she were a fool, when in reality, the opposite was true. Sharon was intelligent, professional, and passionately dedicated to her art. The marriage of Sharon and Roman Polanski, outwardly a Hollywood fairy tale, was in reality full of cracks. Polanski was openly unfaithful and dismissed Sharon's pain as merely her big problem. To her friends, Sharon bitterly confessed, "We have a good arrangement. Roman lies to me and I pretend to believe him." These words revealed the deep hurt she felt, but also her determination to maintain the marriage. Yet when tragedy struck, Polanski was utterly devastated. After his return from Europe, he gave away much of his fortune to escape the painful memories. But forgetting was impossible. Later, he would describe those few short years with Sharon as the happiest of his life. His 1979 film, Tess, arose from this sorrow. It was the last book Sharon had read, Thomas Hardy's Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and she had once suggested it would make a wonderful film adaptation. Polanski honored her wish and simply dedicated the film for Sharon. The film won 3 Oscars and became a critical success, a lasting monument to their love. While Paul Tate quietly protected his daughter's dignity, Doris Tate stepped into the spotlight. After Sharon's death, she transformed her grief into action and became a tireless advocate for the rights and voices of victims. She fought for victims and their families to be allowed to speak at parole hearings, a right that was not taken for granted at the time. In 1982, she co-founded the organization Justice for Homicide Victims, which later became Parents of Murdered Children. In 1992, President George H.W. Bush officially recognized Doris's contributions, but she died shortly thereafter in July 1992 from a brain tumor. Her work was continued by her youngest daughter, Patricia Patty Tate, and later, after Patty's death from breast cancer in 2000, by Deborah Tate. The Tate family's fight against evil has therefore never ceased. They have tirelessly fought to ensure that their sister's murderers are never released, while simultaneously preserving the memory of Sharon as a loving, talented, and hopeful young woman. Sharon Tate left this world at the age of just 26, 8.5 months pregnant, with unfulfilled dreams of family life and a promising career ahead of her. Yet what remains is not only the memory of a tragic death, but also a legacy of resilience, a love that ended too soon but is eternal, and a film world that once had a star that burned too briefly but will never be forgotten. Her legacy lives on through the work of her family, through the films she left behind, and through the countless lives touched by her story. Sharon Tate was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a sister, a wife, a friend, an artist, and a woman with dreams. and in this memory, she finds her true immortality. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to stick around, subscribe to the channel, give a like, and activate notifications so you don't miss any new videos about the stars of Hollywood. See you in the next video.